What's up, you fish hacks? Welcome to Tim's School of Fish, and class is in session. Today, I want to share with you a new knife that I just picked up from Knafs. It was designed by Ben Petersen. This particular knife was a collaboration with Urban EDC. Pow! That is the Knafs Lander. But this particular one that was done with Urban EDC is in M390 steel. The SEIGAIHA wave pattern scales on it. This knife is a smaller knife. It comes in just under 6.5 inches, 2 3/4 inches on the blade length. This is a flat ground drop point blade with thumb stud deployment, and it is a liner lock. It has a deep carry pocket clip that is reversible for tip-up carry. There is no lanyard hole on this one. My apologies to the two guys in the world that like to put lanyards on their knives. You're not going to be able to put a lanyard on this one. We've got a T8 torque screw on the pivot, T6 everywhere else. Tiny little bit of jimping here, which is kind of irrelevant. There is no forward finger choil, but it is very comfortable in the hand. For me, it's about a 3-finger grip, maybe a 3.5 finger grip. It's got the barrel back spacers in the back, which I prefer, standoffs. I know a lot of guys don't like them. I like it because it makes the knife a little lighter, and it's also easier to clean out. I live in Florida, high humidity, lots of sand, so I typically like to have a coated blade to prevent corrosion, and barrel back spacers because it's just easier to maintain and clean the knife. This was a sprint run, which means they only made a few of them, and they're probably not going to make any more. And I actually think that these are sold out already. But if you want to go check it out and see if they have any more, I'll link that down below so you can do that. I will also link the Knafs website down below so you can go check it out. It comes in this box that is co-branded with Knafs and Urban EDC. Comes with a pretty cool insert on this one that's kind of neat. It says how to close your knife. You would be surprised if you're not a knife guy and you hand somebody a knife. A lot of people, it's not really intuitive. It seems intuitive to us because we're knife guys, but a lot of people just don't know. Most people know how to deploy it, or at least how to attempt to deploy it, but not how to close it. As an example, I was at a fantasy football draft last night for one of my mini leagues, and I had the CJRB button lock pyrite in my pocket, and I was just sitting there fidgeting with it, flicking with it as we were drafting. A couple people next to me said, "Hey, can I see that real quick?" I said, "Be careful, it's really sharp." So they took it, didn't know how to open it, and also didn't know how to close it. And that's a button lock. That's about the simplest type of lock that there is. So my point is, it is not intuitive to a lot of people how to close your knife. So I think that's pretty cool. And the fact that it's in there means that this particular knife would make a good gift for somebody. It says how to swap your scales. This particular Knafs Urban EDC SEIGAIHA Lander comes with the SEIGAIHA scales. It also comes with an extra set of contoured G10 scales. So it says in here how to swap your scales. This Lander knife has fast swap scales. What that means is all you have to do is remove the body screws on one side, the pivot, the body screw, and the clip screws on the other side, and these scales pop off, but the knife stays together. You don't have to take the whole knife apart to swap the scales. It has a little schematic about the knife parts, which is kind of cool. It says how to clean, oil, and sharpen your knife, and then it has the limited lifetime warranty at the bottom. I think that's a pretty cool insert. Now, Ben Petersen is one of my favorite knife designers, and most of you guys know him from the Banter family of knives. Pow! He is the designer of the Wee Banter, also the Wee Big Banter, which is a bigger version of this that I do not have yet, but I'm definitely going to get. He also designed, pow, the CIVIVI Baby Banter. This particular one is the Knife Center exclusive. It's bigger than the Baby Banter. It's just about the same length as the Banter, but it has a much slimmer profile. The Banter has wider scales on it, and the Banter has a different blade shape with a much larger belly on it. What I like about Ben's designs is that they are simple and they have clean, straight lines, and to me that's very elegant, right? There's nothing groundbreaking about his designs, but they just work. They're not overbuilt, they're on the smaller side, they're just all around multi-purpose knives, and I like that. Now, Ben is also an advocate for open source customization. For example, you can go to his website, Knafs, Knafs.com, and download the CAD file for these scales, and if you have a 3D printer, you can make your own scales. You can even sell and customize scales for the Knaflander because it's open source. It's not trademarked. It's not copywritten. Sure, the knife design is, but not the scales, not the customizable parts. And Ben is a big advocate for customization and open source for your pocket knives, and I think that's great. Now, on this one, the Lander, the action for a smaller knife is very good. A lot of times on a smaller knife, you don't get the same drop shuttiness that you're going to get with a larger knife because the blade's just not as big and it's not as heavy. And sometimes when you're deploying a smaller knife, you have to front load the thumb stud or the flipper tab to get that nice crisp deployment that you're used to. Smaller knives just behave differently. This one, even though it's not a very big knife, the deployment is very satisfying. It snaps right out of there, and for a smaller blade, it's pretty drop shutty. And I haven't adjusted the pivot or anything. Ben also has the Lander 2 coming out that should be available in October, which is a bigger, badder version of the Lander. He did a Kickstarter for that in June and July, I believe. The Kickstarter is closed, but I believe in October, maybe November, the Lander 2 is going to be available for purchase. I don't know how many are going to be available. So if you like the Lander and you're interested in grabbing a bigger version of this, you should jump on it as soon as it's made available for retail. I think the purchase price of that is going to be $130. Don't quote me on that. But if you're interested in the Lander 2, you should jump on it right away when it's released. So, Ben Petersen, one of my favorite knife designers. The Knafs and Urban EDC Lander SEIGAIHA Sprint Run in M390. He's got the Lander 2 coming out very soon. I know that I'm excited about it. So, there you go, boys and girls. As always, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you liking and commenting. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. There you go, boys and girls. That is it for this episode of Tim's School of Fish. Class dismissed.